Alright, so got another sales video. It's only been about a week or so, but I've already got up to about 75 sales. So I better make a video before it's too late. So here we have the Avenger Comics 247 from Brazil. This is just a digest size book. I think that was printed in the 90s or 2000s. So it's $51. So it's pretty good because this is a reprint. This isn't the first time they printed Avenger Comics 247 in Brazil. So that's a good sale because I'm sure this book doesn't cost too much in Brazil. Here we've got a Yafa Conan 1, and this one actually went a lot cheaper than I thought it would. Yafas tend to be pretty hard books to find. The Conan 1, it appears, just looking at the pictures, that this might have been a digest size version of Conan 1, and there's also a magazine size Yafa. So it's kind of like the weird thing about Yafa is they printed the same book in different formats, some digest, some magazine. So this one looked different than the one I have, which is a magazine sized. So $100 for that one. So that's those pretty low sale for compared to what other number ones from Australia are going for. Here we've got Ultimate Fallout 4 from Spain, one bid. This is, I've talked about this a few times now. This is by far the rarest of all the Ultimate Fallout 4s. This one is from Spain, which, Spain typically has pretty big print runs, but for some reason the Panini print runs in Spain from this time are very small. So this was, I have the complete Ultimate Fallout 4 set. Every printing from every country that printed it around the world, and this one was by far the hardest for me to find. So somebody, I think, got a steal. If I didn't have 2 copies already, I would have bought that for sure. I know I told Rob's Comics about it, so hopefully hopefully Rob jumped on it because I know he was in the market for one. But this one wasn't in very good condition. None of them that I've seen seem to be in very good condition, so maybe that had something to do with it. But for $72, that was a steal. When you got people paying $400+ for some of the other editions that aren't as rare. So we've got the Fantastic Four #1 Newton. So this one is about $300. It did not have the poster, so that's why the price is so much lower than the other ones that have been selling. But still, for an incomplete copy, it's still a good sale. Another Newton. This is first appearance of Juggernaut, X-Men. This one sold for $114, and this one didn't have a poster, but it has an iron-on transfer, and the iron-on was with this comic. So, $114. Yeah, I guess it could have probably gone for more. It's not a bad deal. I just was able to pick one up from Australia with the transfer for like around $50. So, that makes me happy because I was like, all right, no matter what, I still got a good deal on it. But I'm surprised because, these Newton keys have really been selling for a lot, at least the #1 keys. So it seems like these other, key books, that aren't #1s, don't sell quite for that premium, but they're still selling good. So here's a #1. This one's pretty tough to find. Iron Man 1. This one did have the poster, so about $560. Obviously, to me, Iron Man 1 is much less of a key than, say, X-Men 1 or Avengers 1 or Fantastic Four #1. So, I think for that reason, this one's sold for less, but it's, still a key book. I still need this one. This is one of the few Newton #1s I don't have, but for me, it's just I haven't seen one come up at a cheap price, and probably I won't ever see one come up for a cheap price now. So I'm content with not having it. This was a pretty cheap sale for Batman 234, the first Silver Age Two-Face classic cover. Sold for less than $65, and I sold one of these, I think for about $100, and that one, wasn't in the best of condition. I think the staples had been replaced, but so someone got a good deal on this one. Another one. This was Action Comic 1 from Brazil. Obviously, a more current reprint. Sold for $41. And it's kind of just a cool book to have. I like the titling that they did on it. This sold for $75. This is I can't even remember what the American equivalent is called, Spidey or something like that, Spidey one, but it was kind of like the kids comic version of Spider-Man. So this one looked really good conditions from Mexico. It's a Mac comic. I know this one was picking up some heat on the American market because I think there's like the first appearance of a black Spider-Man character. It's like a black kid becomes Spider-Man in it. So it's kind of just a cool book, and this one does look high grade for a Mexican book. So $75 that's probably a pretty good deal. The La Mole Venom 3, 9.8, sold for $300. That's the Venom 3 third print. So that's kind of crazy because, the Venom 3 third print American 9.8 is only selling for like $400 or $500. And, so this is selling pretty close to what the American version is selling for now. I think Noel has a future, maybe, I don't know, I'm hoping it does, because I actually have a 9.8 Venom 3 third print that I got from Mel at Drunken Chat. I won it, so I got it for free. I'm just waiting for it to pop again, because I think it was selling for over $1,000, and right now for me it's more just a hold. I'll just keep it, and hope something happens with that character where I down the road I could sell it and make some decent money on it. And here's some more. One sold for $400, another for $350. So, and these books they're moving. Another one. So this one was an auction. So these were best offers accepted, and this one actually went at auction. So this one went pretty far less than the other ones. So better probably just to wait for the auctions to come up than to just buy it now. Spider-Man 4 J Scott Campbell variant, the first appearance of Silk, $100 from Mexico. Probably not a bad price. I've actually got one of these on the way coming to me now from Mexico. So it's a beautiful cover, and it's too bad they didn't put Silk on the cover, but still a good looking book. So these things are still selling like crazy. So this is probably the first to market 9.8 of this La Mole foil Spawn cover. So this one went for $750. I think that price will probably go down as more people get these graded, but it's a heck of a price for a book that just came out a couple months ago. But I know it was a limited print run. The art book that was sold at La Mole. Warren Lowe Virgin variant. This one 9.8 for $700. We've got Daredevil 168, first appearance of Electro. This is from Mexico. This is a vid comic, so these are kind of it's a different publisher than most of the Mexican comics I show, and these are kind of like a smaller format, like digest size. But I don't think they're quite as prevalent as the other ones, because I really don't see too many of them come up for sale. So for $80, it looks like in pretty good condition, so not a bad deal. Here we have a Age of Spider-Verse 2 land variant. This says $65, so that's sold super cheap. I think these have sold in the past for $200-$300, maybe even higher. So these are definitely in a lull right now, so I would definitely just hang on to these rather than selling. I ended up selling my Cover A Edge of Spider-Verse 2 for Mexico. I had been holding on to it, and finally I think I sold it for $60, just last time I had a sale on Instagram. I just had bought quite a few things, so I just needed to drum up money more than I needed doubles of a comic. For $230, we've got the as the Mexican Spider-Man 667 Delado. So $230 is a pretty high price on this. You can still find the Italian for pretty cheap. I bought the Italian. Pretty much looks the same. It does have like a different. Right where that Marvel is, it has something else that says the Italian kind of naming of Spider-Man there. But those, and I picked one up for I think $30 or less. probably about a year ago. I'm sure they've gone up since then, but yeah, definitely something to look for if you're looking for that cover. The Italian set tends to be the cheaper one to buy. This one's a Mexican Haunted Thrills #9, Cuentos de Brujas. It's a pretty sweet Golden Age horror cover. This one had 9 bids for $315. These old Mexican horror books can be very difficult to find in good condition, and this one doesn't look bad. So, for $315, that was probably a pretty good deal. I thought this one was interesting. It's X-Men 4. It's actually a German Hulk comic, but it has kind of like a double cover. So part of the cover is X-Men 4, and they're all, all the characters have some pretty crazy recolors going on, and then the bottom cover is the Hulk cover. So it's sold for $51. And these I know you can still find pretty cheap on German eBay. So you might want to check there. You could probably find it for $15 or less, plus then of course you got to pay for shipping and wait a month and a half for it to get to you. 9.2 or no, it says 9.4 in the listing, but the comic says 9.2. But it's a German Spider-Man 129. These aren't that hard to find. You could still find these on German eBay, I think for $30 to $50. And they're all going to be fairly high grade. So, this was, probably about what it should have been priced on. It sounds cheap, but it's a current book. It was printed in year 2000. So, not current, but a modern book. So, I feel like that seller probably not too happy with that. Buyer probably did pretty good on it. So these Germans keep going up. German Harley Quinn 1, the No Underwear Adam Hughes cover, 120, best offer accepted. So yeah, these were selling for $60, $70, $80, and they just keep going up. Avengers 57, this is $100. This one was kind of surprising to me because I feel like Vision's kind of been a cold character, ever since WandaVision. You haven't really heard much from him, or the White Vision was kind of the next big thing that was supposed to happen. So for this to sell for $100, it seems like a pretty solid sale. Thor 165 German edition. So this is the Hit comic. So this is, from the 60s. This isn't like a more recent reprint. This is an old comic. This one sold for $99. This is Nembo Kid 31, aka Italy's version of Flash's first appearance. They used a different color on it, or cover, which I think is kind of cool. It's kind of a mix between, like, I think it was Flash Annual 1 and Showcase 4's cover. So for $300, that's a good sale. I've been in the market for one of these for a while. I just haven't, I'm not a huge Flash fan, and I ended up buying the French Canadian one, which I think is one of the only ones that uses the actual Showcase 4 cover. So I've been looking for this one for cheap. I was bidding on one that sold about a month ago, and it ended up selling for about $75 on Italian eBay. So really $300 on American eBay, that's not a bad deal. This person probably did pretty good that bought it. And it is from 1962, so it's an old comic. This one kind of surprised me. Daredevil 2, first Electro key, and it's obviously not Electro's first appearance, but $100. That seems, kind of high for a number 2 issue. But you just got people that are really trying to build these foreign runs, so that might have just had something to do with it. Batman 189, first appearance of Scarecrow. It's Italian from 1967. Looks to be in pretty good condition, so it sold for $119 plus $30 shipping from Italy. Another one that I thought was kind of strange. Daredevil 23 and I think that's the Italian numbering, but this says 105 on it. But now that I'm looking at the cover, Yeah, it says contains Iron Man. So right there, you got, more than likely has Tales of Suspense 39 on the interior. So that's probably why it sold for that much. And it's kind of cool that it has that on the cover too. So I never actually even realized that. So I might be on the hunt for this book soon because I like that it has that on the cover. So first KANG from Italy. So this actually was running under the Thor title. So $160 plus $22 shipping. So that's a pretty high price. Looks like a high grade copy, but I used to be able to find these pretty inexpensive. Spider-Man 301 for $50 plus $25 shipping from Italy. This one probably didn't sell for what the seller was hoping. And something says only 500 made. France variant 9.8, and it sold for $36. So I feel like the modern game is kind of dicey, especially if you're going to get them graded for foreign comics. It's got to be a mega key book. I feel like otherwise you could be risking paying this cost less than the price to slab the comic. So this was definitely not a good sale for that person that sold it. This is Spider-Man 12. This is, I think, is the French version. So that one for $87. So that's a good sale, all black cover. So that one's gonna be real hard to find in high grade. And French people tend to not really take care of their comics, from what I've seen as well. They don't bag and board them. They don't really ship them very well. So it's a miracle sometimes if you get one that's shipped properly. This is a finished Spider-Man 316 that sold for $99 with one bid. 8.5 finish Spider-Man 129 signed by Stan Lee, so that's pretty cool that it was signed by him. This one sold for $500, and they were asking almost $900. Spider-Man Weekly, Star Wars Weekly from the UK. No gift, so I think it's a TIE fighter, like a pull-out TIE fighter, wasn't included in it. So this one went for $40 plus, if they shipped it to America, it was gonna be another $35. Spider-Man 45, first appearance of Venom. I guess this is a unique cover, one that wasn't used in America, so that gives it kind of a premium, so it sold for $75. And Secret Wars 8, which is Secret Wars 17 in the UK. This one was the best offer accepted and sold for £60. So that, probably is almost, I'd say, at least $90 or $80-$90 around there. So, it's pretty high sale. Looks in nice condition, though. And here's another one that sold for $50. So, it's just kind of the ups and downs of the foreign market. If you're patient, you can get a great deal almost on any book, but sometimes you'll be waiting years to get the right copy presented to you. Mighty World of Marvel 198, which is the UK version of Hulk 181. That went for $309. So this book just keeps climbing. For years you can get it for $100 around there, sometimes less than $100. But I think those days are pretty much long gone. Captain Britain, this is number 8, first appearance of Betsy Braddock. That went for $301. So check this out. This is a super low sale just because the person probably didn't know what they were selling. Mighty World of Marvel 197, which contains Hulk 180. So this has the cameo of Hulk inside, and somebody sold it for $5. So whoever got that got a steal. Super Spider-Man 178, first UK Punisher, sold for $75. Had that. This one looks like a pretty nice copy too. So had they put somewhere in the title, ASM 129, this probably would have sold for twice as much. But they used the UK numbering rather than the American numbering, and it's not going to sell. Not going to sell for premium if you do that. This is okay. This is the Turkish, so I just include this because I guess this is a new one that's out. So I know, I think the foreign market has kind of realized that a big part of foreign comics is the set building, and so now they're all just going to start reprinting these, key covers, basically because they know the people that are building these sets are going to have to buy them to have a complete set. So we have the Turkish now, Spider-Man 129, selling for $18 or less, and I thought about buying a couple of these, and just to hang on to them because as things dry up, the prices can go up. But I've kind of learned, I think, recently that it's just a lot of these modern comics just aren't really worth the effort unless they are kind of rare or they were printed like over 10 years ago. To me, this is more of a cash grab than anything. It's not really, it's not a vintage book, so it's still cool, and it's, Turkey never had a original ASM 129 cover, so for a set builder it's a must-have, and I am building kind of a ASM 129 set, so maybe one day I'll pick one up, but probably not for a while. It's the Danish Spider-Man 1 from 1992, sold for $50, which I think these are kind of rare, so that's probably a pretty good deal. The thing I don't like about these books is that they just reuse the American cover. It's just a exact copy. They didn't translate it. They didn't do anything different to it. And if I want a foreign comic, I want it to be in a different language, unless I'm buying it from Canada or UK or something like that, where they speak English also. But just kind of reprinting the cover to me is just kind of lazy. It would have been cool if they would have translated the cover also. This is Spider-Man 300 from Spain. This one was printed in 2019, so this is like the more recent reprint. Sold for $75. Star-Lord, first appearance of Star-Lord, Marvel Preview 4. This is from France. Sold for $114. So it's a pretty solid sale for a French key. There's a couple other countries that have this cover. I think Australia uses it. Spain has one. And I'm trying to think. I'm sure there's a few more. Here we've got some Indonesian Spider-Man. So it's Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3 from Indo. But that actually, I think the Spider-Man 1 contains partial part of the story, or maybe even the whole story of Spider-Man 300. But stuff from Indonesia is pretty difficult to get, so for someone that's like a Venom fan, this was probably a pretty good deal for them. 129, Legion of Superheroes, Adam Hughes, Supergirl cover. It's pretty solid sale. Another interior, Italian. This one has Hulk 1 on the interior, so the cover is not Hulk 1. This is just an interior cover, and that sold for $80. Journey into Mystery 83, the Italian edition. It doesn't, obviously doesn't have the Journey into Mystery cover, but it is the first Thor printed by Corno in Italy. So, it's a Italian #1, and it sold for $140. For whatever reason, Italy didn't use any of the covers, the American covers, for their first appearance or #1 issues. They just kind of used some different art. So like Fantastic Four #1, Thor #1, Spider-Man #1. They don't have the original American covers on them, which is too bad. But sometimes variation, like I said, is cool. So, this is cool to have that Journey into Mystery 83 story inside and a different cover. They did use the cover for Daredevil, so that's a plus. This looks like a nice looking copy, sold for about $300, and it also the interior contains Silver Surfer 1 as well. So it's definitely a double key. So for $300, I think that this book is a pretty safe bet that it's just going to keep going up. Conan 1, $75. Looks like a pretty nice copy, so that's not a bad deal. These were like always. This was like the bread and butter of Italian eBay. You could find these all day long. You could find sellers that had 5, 6 of them, and I used to buy them up, sell them for $30 a piece, and make some money on them. But those days are gone. I'm sure they're still on there, but they're going to be definitely more expensive. And here we have just kind of some back issue Italians from 1969. So these, are just, not key books really, but for, selling for about $50 a piece. They look in nice condition, so it's not a bad price. Here we have the Italian Magnus Robot Fighter 1 from 1965. I've never actually even seen this before. So it's, $100. It's just a pretty cool book. Dr. Solar, Man of the Atom, #1 from Italy, 1965. Another one I hadn't seen. This one sold for $150. I think I talked about that one already. More Batman back issues, selling for between $40 and $70, and not really key books or anything. So that's pretty interesting. Danger Girl, issue 2, Ruby Red. It says signed, but I do see a signature on the cover. But it sold for $60. This is the Marvel Team Up 141. It's kind of a very distracting cover, and it's kind of zoomed in on Spider-Man. You can't even see I think Daredevil's on the cover also, and then you can barely see Black Widow over there. So kind of a busy cover, kind of an ugly cover, but $45. And I know this is, I think, tied for first appearance of the black suit in comics. So this is a pretty huge sale. The Michael Turner German Batman Superman 4. So this is like the first time this cover was used. I know they reused it a couple years ago for like a convention exclusive or something like that here in America, but the German was the original. And I've actually been looking for one of these, and I think John Z has a couple of them, or maybe just one that he's shown off, but definitely a hard book to find. I've never seen one for sale aside from on American eBay, where they're priced higher than I wanted to pay. But one did sell for about $1,500, and there's another one that just went to auction, so it's up to $500-$600 already now. So we'll see where that one goes. We got the embossed Spawn 5 cover, the Angela cover, for $150. So these always seem to be a pretty hot seller. They always sell. So $149 seems like a good price, or a good price for the seller. They definitely made some money on that. But I know these are a lot of people are looking for these. So this is this was kind of interesting to me. This is just a showcase 22. This is a reprint of a Green Lantern. First appearance Silver Age, but this was printed I think in the year 2000, somewhere between 2000 and 2010. I'm not exactly sure the date, but it sold for $66, and I know you can find these still for less than $10 on German eBay. I actually just bought a showcase 4 of these because I saw one sold on eBay for I think about over $50-$60 on American eBay, and there was some just sitting on German eBay for less than $10. So to me, it was just a no-brainer just to pick it up. And I'm probably not even going to sell it. I'm just going to keep it. But get them before the prices start going up in Germany as well. Spider-Man 361, $69. This is the German edition. Kind of a cool cover. Just because of the differences between this and the American. They got definitely a lot more going on with that spider web in the back and the different colors. But $69 is pretty cheap. I think the Venom 2 movie kind of hurt the prices on the Spider-Man 361. I know on the American and on all the foreign editions, they just doesn't seem like many people are interested in building this set right now. The Dime Press 4, first appearance of Hellboy. This is from Italy. So this is a 9.2 that sold for $3,000, and it was signed by Mike Mignola. So that's a pretty huge sale, but I know these books are very hard to find in good condition. You can find them. I've seen them on eBay Italy, but I think it's these that are very high. It's a very high chance that they're going to have color touch on them. I guess a lot of the people straight out of the publisher were touching these books up with permanent markers, So, the chances of you getting, a blue label are pretty slim. So it's kind of the risk you got to take. Spider-Man 101 from Italy sold for about $100. So it's a pretty solid sale for that book. So I think I've got a couple of these Special Strange 24, which is Giant Size X-Men 1 in France, on this market report. So here's one. They didn't put anything about it being Giant Size X-Men 1. So this sold for $20 on, and it was just a buy it now. So whoever sold this book didn't really know what they had, I guess, or didn't know that this is an in-demand book. So they sold it real cheap. That's probably about what you could find it for if you were to walk into a comic store in France, I would think, or maybe even cheaper. So that one sold for $20, and then this is actually, I think, Marvel Premiere 15, first appearance of Iron Fist. But this is they do their own covers in France, and it's pretty cool cover. Sold for $10, and that I know is cheaper than what you could buy it for in France. So that went super cheap. This one went super cheap. So here we can see, if you change the listing, actually tell people what it is inside. Giant Size X-Men 1, the French version or French edition, you're gonna get a lot more money for it. So this one sold for $137. And here's another one for $127. So you gotta, these are the ones that most people are buying, but this is the one you want to keep your eye out for. When people don't know what they have or don't know what they're selling, that's the opportunity to get foreign comics cheap. And so that's why I tell people, just be patient. Like, this isn't a super rare book, so be patient, and you'll get a good deal eventually. I sold one on Instagram for $75. I had seen these sales recently, so I was like, well, I still want people to get a good deal, and I know how much money I have invested in it, so I don't mind giving people a good deal, and I'm still going to make money on it. Here's another steal, Hulk 180 from Canada, French Canadian. This one sold for $40, so that's crazy cheap for that copy. But I do believe this one was pulled from a bind, so that would be one reason why I would have sold so cheap. But for someone that doesn't really care too much about the quality of it, it still looks in nice condition, but it was pulled from a bind. So $40, that's a real good deal. And Ultimate Fallout 4 from France, 9.6, sold for $700. So it's good to see that these other Ultimate Fallout 4s are getting some love. Like I said, this French copy tends to be pretty hard to find. The Italian one isn't. I would say they're actually not really difficult to find. They're just hard to find in decent condition. So for a 9.6, that's a good grade for this book. And let's see, we've got the Spider-Man 4, the first appearance of Silk. This one sold for $60. I know you used to be able to pick these up real cheap on German eBay, but I think those prices have gone up. And I'm pretty sure this book just uses the cover, but does not have any interior story that involves Silk's first appearance. So that's one thing you got to be aware of, because this book, I believe, was just printed in, what's it say, November of 21. So this was just not that old of a book, and they just they know that these covers are key covers, so they put these covers on just random Spider-Man stories, and they know they're going to sell because they have that key cover on the book. So it's one thing to realize with some of this German stuff is that while it might be a key cover or an incentive cover in the US, the interior story might not be there. So it's definitely something you want to double check before you spend too much money. Talked about that one already. All right, so I think that's it. I try to get through those pretty quickly, but I will try this week to maybe make another video about kind of following my last video that I made with all the key comics I had from countries that started with A. I did Australia and Argentina already, so I'm going to try and do Brazil maybe this week. And and hopefully I'll have time. I've got a lot of stuff going on with work and family, but I enjoy making these videos, so we'll see when I get a chance to make the next one. All right, thanks for watching.